Um, so I've been thinking about this, for a while. Um, this issue kind of, it's in general, but specifically gratex and the fact that he took the consciousness debate as being really about this other thing. Now, I think from my point of view, that isn't what makes me think about that other issue. I think the other issue of consciousness is more fundamental, and let the chips fall where they may. But I will definitely never otherwise, acknowledge that such questions relate to vegetarianism. And at any rate, it's made me think a little bit about these issues. And I was once a vegetarian, not for health reasons, but for the ethical reasons, and not so much for the ethical reason of killing another living thing and eating it, but more the cruelty of industrial ranching. Um, So okay, I realized a couple things. It's like after I've been thinking about this, and I've been seeing other stuff, not just gray text, other vegetarian responses and attitudes. I've just been noticing them, and even remembering over the years. Oh, that's what's been going on. Yeah, it's kind of clicking. It's kind of dawning on me that there's a little issue going on here. And one thing is, I respect you, Greatex, and I respect you enough not to worry about risking, offending you. I mean, but I don't want to offend you, or your sensibilities. On the other hand, there's no reason for me to see that, like, obviously, being a vegetarian doesn't make you a better person in and of itself. Now, I've already said I think it's a better thing. I think the human race probably will evolve beyond that. I have no trouble saying that, even though I eat meat, and I can get into that. It's just that that one thing isn't enough. As we've seen, there's impacts. If I am eating grass-fed beef, treated well, right up until it happens to be slaughtered humanely, um, and somebody else is eating Monsanto soy and corn and stuff. You know, it's not just an automatic thing. And you could say, well, what about the sentience of those animals? And I agree with that, and that's why I say, well, in the long run, okay, but there's this other issue of how well things live, and also which creatures we're talking about. So, for example, um, I think fish that are raised in tanks, they don't seem to end up that healthy and stuff. And I think that the fish mentality, that might be too restrained, right? On the other hand, I've heard of people doing raising abalone, which is this. I love this great kind of shellfish in a tank, and I don't think that the abalone I don't see that as much different really in terms of badly treating a living thing and raising corn and killing it before it was going to die on its own. I just don't see a huge difference there. Now I do with salmon, you know, and I'm open to the argument even with the shellfish. But the whole issue that you're killing them. I think it's important that it's not human. It's just like animals, dogs that attack children. They get the capital punishment by more lenient means than a human being does. And in the one sense, oh, it's not fair, but we can't. It's because it is because of certain practical realities about how we could communicate and understand where they're coming from, how we might communicate to them uh, our intention that they never do it again and they rehabilitate or not. Um, if you could had technologies to communicate and like if you could brainwash a dog to never bite again, you might not put it down, but right now they get put down. It's like it's not fair. So in the echelon of eating things, I don't think you know. I mean, the thing is too is like I'm also not going to get dinged just because basically I'm honest. I mean, I could bullshit more. I don't eat that much meat. I just had 2 garden burgers was my last meal. Okay, and I love those things. So, you know, but when I stopped being a vegetarian, I one want to eat. Uh, I would like to eat animals that are either live wild in a healthy, natural environment as possible, or they live in a ranch, a large acre, like a grass fed with a lot of space for the kind of animal they are. And that they're healthy and relatively happy, and I think that's possible. Now, it's hard to talk about, but I would like to talk about how a cow or a chicken can be happy enough to have lived a good life. And I would like to separate the question of, well, how do you kill them humanely in order to eat them? Is that possible? But I think that's probably a little bit, beyond us. But like so let's just use a simple case. What about abalone? They're just big shellfish, clams. Is it conceivably okay to raise those in a tank and they just grow big and fat and healthy and they have all the things abalone want there, whatever we can figure out they want to it's like I'm sure it's probably just nutrients and things like this. I think they're probably pretty simple in what they want. And they root down and don't move around just like plants. And just like plants, if they are they're seasonal in their own way, and it's a part of nature, thus to recapitulate the biological chains of biological chemical processing. um, I don't see the issue. I similarly, I don't see with catching crab now, throwing the crab in the some hole and it lives there stacked with other crabs for months before it comes back to market. Maybe that's not okay. But like if I threw a crab uh, trap, in the waters near where I am, and then I pull it up and I have some crabs. I don't see the problem. If I'm kidnapped and parachute dropped into some place with nothing but camping equipment, and I try to eat animals as well as whatever fruits and vegetables and roots I can find, I don't see a moral problem with that, an automatic moral problem. You'll have to explain it to me. I understand about the life and consciousness thing, but that's not an absolute wrong. I'm sorry. If somebody is attacking, trying to kill me, and I end up killing them, it's not an absolute wrong that I killed them. It's unfortunate. I would feel bad about it, and I think that's why a lot of indigenous people perform ceremonies to whatever their traditional prey. Because, yeah, sure, there's some reciprocal, but in the end, it adds up 2 plus 2 equals, yeah, I'm going to eat the animal, and other animals are going to eat me. And, I think it's a great thing that humans can put such a shield around their security that they're not subject to the predation, really, to any significant degree. And also might therefore also similarly enjoy as a luxury of our advanced civilization, not preying on animals as well. That's something we could enjoy, that we could, aspire to. But it's not automatically like literally some sacred or better thing, or we can't talk about consciousness lest we destroy the bubble that makes that superior. No, because you're eating Monsanto vegetables and stuff. You're in the same rotten fucking society as us. You think I'm not eating meat, therefore it'll be good. No, it's just as rotten in a different way. So there's an advantage, but it's like the fact that Cantor, there's different sizes of infinity. It might be better, but it's still fucked up. So, there's no reason to be all cocky about it. We can still talk about the various issues. And especially what? You're a vegetarian, so you've checked out. It doesn't matter whether you treat cattle nicely or cruelly, because it's all wrong. I don't think you'd probably want to say that, right? Like, even though you don't eat beef, it's better if cattle are healthy and live the polyface farms way, with no antibiotic and out there grazing and healthy and happy, because they're being raised in a cycle of lots of green grass and things they like. That's better than the way Monsanto and Tyson and all these people do their industrial ranching. It's better. You can't compare. You don't want to check out of that. So in that sense, it's like it's all a contiguous thing, right? And it helps us remember that there's better ways to farm than the Monsanto genetically engineered crops. There's better ways to ranch than the Tyson. And yes, it could also be true that, I do believe at some point, not very far point actually, just because of how good things like garden burgers are getting. I mean, there's the taste quality, protein quality of these things is getting so good, and meat is just so uneconomical. I think that we'll become a vegetarian society, but not literally, totally, technically. I think there will be hunting, and you'll be able to eat meat. I don't think there's going to be an absolutist moralist ultimatum about that. It's just a part of nature, and it's great if we can mitigate that and we are not prey or predator particularly. But you're not going to tell me it's morally wrong to eat an abalone if you're going to eat anything yourself, you know, anything at all. So, but I really like you, and probably I'm wrong, but I'm not. But